Introducing the Champion's Mindset, the podcast that gives your inner game a serious upgrade. Join internationally renowned mindset and performance expert, Kathryn Orford.
Well, hi there, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to the Champions Mindset. I am so glad you've joined us. Now, whether you are an athlete or a coach athlete, or perhaps you're a business person, an entrepreneur, or just someone that's really interested in personal development, I am so glad you joined us. Tonight, I'm going to be interviewing a really dear friend of mine who is a former professional basketball player turned entrepreneur. And he is going to share so many tips with you that no matter where you're at in your life, no matter what you're doing, I bet there's going to be some gold nuggets. So get ready. Perhaps you might want a pen and paper and just enjoy the show. So without any further ado, welcome Dan Nzinga.
You. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. You're somebody I've always looked up to. I love what you're doing, and it's great to be here.
Well, as some people might know, really early on, I think I've only been doing these podcasts about 10 weeks now, but really early on, I did interview you and we talked about your early days of, you know, your desire to play basketball, your father not even wanting you to practice, etc., and you having to sneak out and practice, etc. So there was some really gold gems there. As far as these days, I think a lot of parents are the opposite. I think they're pushing their kids to become basketball professionals, etc. But take us back to your basketball journey. So, what were some of the biggest mindset shifts that you had to make to actually make it to the level you did and compete at that level?
So for me, and it's something that I use now because I want to compare being an entrepreneur to being a basketball player in many aspects. And so and I think of the movie The Matrix, the first one, where um, they were like trying to do something with him in the car. He's like, no, I don't want this. Like in the beginning when they first got him, he's like, no, I don't want this. Like, let me out of the car. And they stop the car, and Trinity opens the door and says, okay, you can leave, but you know what's out there already. Like, there's nothing out there for you. And he's like, so like basically take a chance. So when I was playing basketball, I was like, there's nothing else that I wanted more than this. So it helped me not to quit. Like, I'm gonna stay as long as I can do it because, and I see that as an entrepreneur too. It's like you already know what's on the other side. You started this journey for a reason, so you need to stick to it. It's not gonna be easy, but you got to do this. So once I have that shift in what I want, I'm not just seeking comfort. I'm seeking something that I don't have yet, and I'm gonna go get it. And so that mindset versus people quitting, like, oh, it's not working, it's not good. Like, there's a whole other conversation of this is not how it's supposed to be. It's not easy. It's not working. But there's a conversation about I'm gonna go get something, and if I say, well, what about something like the other option? I don't want the other option already. So I already know what that is of not being a player or not being an entrepreneur. I already know what that is. I don't want that. I want this. And so you just got to focus on what you want.
Yeah, and so how did your experience of playing professional basketball, all over Europe, really, how did that prepare you for entrepreneurship?
So as a basketball player, you're kind of like an entrepreneur because you have to keep improving yourself, and you have to keep like always trying to improve. So because it's a contract, everybody gets paid differently. You're basically a contractor, and you're trying. If you get hurt, you can't play anymore. You're out. So you have to keep yourself healthy. You have to keep playing. You have to keep improving. Every summer I go and I try to improve, and it's working on these skills. So it's 100% about personal growth and self development in the sports world, but it's 100% about that. And for me, entrepreneurship is similar. Whenever I forget to think like a basketball player, then I have problems. But as long as I'm thinking like a basketball player, like I need to keep working on these skills. Like, okay, what skills do I need to work on? Because we will forget. And, we get in the real world and we forget about skills. We just like, this is who I am and this is what I'm doing. But we forget that you can develop your skills and you can take courses to develop your skills and practice your skills. How many people really practice anything entrepreneurship? Like, say, I'm going to spend time practicing my pitch. people don't practice their pitch really. People don't practice how overcoming objections. They don't practice any of that. They just do it as it comes, and so, but it's a skill to practice it. They don't practice whatever the skill is that they're doing. Is I'm just going to practice to get better at this. People just think that you're going to get better naturally, and a lot of times we do get better naturally. But as a basketball player, you don't wait for it just to become better naturally. You work on your handles, you work on shooting and passing, and you go in the gym by yourself, and you're constantly working on your own game to get better. And a lot of times I forget about that, and we forget about that. But when I start thinking like a basketball player, I start improving, and then it's like it's a different thing for me.
So, what did you learn from failing and losing games and things that you now can tap into? Because as an entrepreneur, we all know when we have a business, we have a vision of where we want to be, but it's not a straight line. We're going to fail. And from a basketball analogy, you're not going to win every game. So
Right.
what was your mindset for coping with that? When you had a bad day, when you didn't play well?
So I can basketball, like everybody, there's only going to be one champion at the end of the season. So no matter how how you cut it, most likely your season ended in a loss, unless you went and won the whole thing, right? Or that you didn't make the playoffs at all, which is usually, if you're in the competition, your season ended in a loss. And once you lose that game, and it's summertime for you, now you have a couple months. What are you going to do with that couple of months? Are you going to be depressed? Are you not going to do anything? Usually you say, I need to work on this. The coach has a meeting with everybody and says, this is what you need to work on. This is what you need to work on. Next year, come back strong. And I've always been able to come back better than I was the year before. Whenever, especially if I spend the time just working on my game, working on my dribbling, then I come back with a little bit more confidence, and you're practicing with other people, and then you come back, and now you come back in shape. So it's kind of like in entrepreneurship too. So you lose something, you lose a client, you lose that. Are you going to just mope and cry about it? No, you get in shape. So the next time you see that client, you'll be in better shape, and you can say, "I have something a little bit better this time. I know that you didn't like how it happened, but I improved. We've improved. We're this, we're that." And you can say we're more laser focused, and they might even give you a second chance. So that's how I kind of see it. Is like you're gonna lose, but you got to remember that the other side you don't want it. Like you don't want what's on the other side, anyways. And you're a basketball player. Your job is to get as good as you can, improve as much as you can. That's like your job. So you have to always be working on it. Never get comfortable.
Now, you're known as the king of 21 day challenges. So, what parallels do you see between coaching a basketball team, because I know you've also coached, right? And coaching clients through a 21-day challenge, or building their online business or building their online community. So, what parallels do you see around that?
Okay, so if anybody knows basketball or knows coaching, because you can watch basketball, you don't know what happens when you're coaching. So when you're coaching a game, or when people see the players playing and they think they're just playing, it's not like it's a part. The game is usually broken down into parts by parts. Like a drill will be like you do this thing for you do this drill, you do this one part. And then we got this part down. Now we do another part. Like you might see the guy running a whole play, a whole system, pass, but they broke it down and practiced part by part by part. They didn't just give them all of it at once. And even with defense, help defense and ball denial and then help. It's like part by part by part until you just drill it in a whole bunch of times. And so in 21-day challenges, you break it up part by part by part as well. So you do the first part, focus on day one. Okay, I got day one down. Focus on day two. That's why I don't like giving like a course. You give everyone the whole thing at once. I don't like that. Like email you a course something. You got to do the first two parts. And I'm doing a challenge for somebody right now, and she's like, "Yeah, I did day five." I'm like, "You did all of day five?" And she didn't do it. She's like, "Oh, okay. Thanks for keeping me accountable because you need to get that part down so you can understand part six. You got to do part five and then get it first. So it's more mental and 21-day challenging, but it's the same concept. Is that you have to break down the drills. And I remember doing drills in high school or in college or in pros where it's like, why are we doing this drill? But then it's like, oh, okay, I see why the drill was. I see what the drill is about. And I remember one time, it was actually in high school, Coach Lewis, we had a coach, and he had, it was one of his practice, we were about to play against a team, and we hadn't scouted the team. And we did this like hours, not hours, because it's high school, but like a long, long time, like most of the practice, throwing the ball up against the backboard, getting the rebound, turning around, and throwing a long pass. Like, so we throw it against the backboard, and one guy would take off, grab the rebound, and he turn around like football. I'm like, this is not basketball. It's like we're playing football. And he had us do that over and over and over again, like for 3 days. Like every practice, like grab the ball, turn around, and it was like the drill. I thought he was like getting us in shape because we're like running a lot. We run, we make the layup, we do that, go down the other end, do the same thing. And then right, the game that we're gonna go play, that team, he scouted the team. They are not good at running back. They always go get the rebounds, and nobody goes back. And you notice that just killed that team just by like we did that drill all day in the game. Every time you got the rebound, we just turn around and somebody would take off. Like just take off. And we just ran it. And it was such a I was like, wow, I get it now how he did that drill. I get that one thing, even though in my head in practice, I was like, this is stupid. Why are we doing this? But it turned out to be like what made the game so much easier. And that's what a good coach will find something and say, drill this down. Once you get this down, we got the other part. And then because we were so ahead of them by doing that drill, by the time they try to change their strategy and play like a way that they're not used to playing, it was even easier for us to like beat the team. And it was a pretty good team that was beating everybody. But the coach found a flaw and made us practice. He didn't just tell us, "Hey, just do this. This is what's going to happen." We had to practice it, practice it, practice it. And so, a 21-day challenge, kind of the same things. Like you're doing every day. You do one thing, do another thing. If you need to practice the same thing until you get it down, until it becomes a habit.
And it's focusing on one thing.
Right. You're not trying to eat the whole elephant. It's just focus on one bite.
Yeah. So every athlete has setbacks, right? Injuries or not being chosen and being on the bench or whatever. What's a moment from your basketball career that happened and taught you resilience?
So my first year in college, actually almost like my first year in every team was always very challenging. So I had to be resilient to break through in the second year. But my first year in college, it started off good the first couple of games, and then I just got less and less playing time. And next thing I was like mad on the bench. And I was like, oh, this is, and I'm showing the coach I'm mad so that he can put me in, I don't know, I'm young. I'm trying to maybe get sympathy. And coach had a meeting with me. He's like, look, I don't want people moping. Like, whenever somebody's like mad or upset, my thing is to try to get them out or off the team as fast as possible so they don't impact the other teams. But if you play hard and you work hard and you do what happens next year when these other guys graduate, you'll already be ahead of everybody. And if you want a red shirt, you can do that. It's like I can red shirt. Like if you want a red shirt, red shirting means to I don't know if you guys in college basketball, if you do an extra year, you got 4 years to play,
Gotcha.
but you can get 5 years if you sit out a year. So sometimes the school will let you sit out a year while you're on scholarship and not play, but you practice, 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 get better so that you can. And I never had the red shirt, but I was thinking that man, if this is this hard, maybe I can red shirt a year and just practice and get better so that I can have an extra year. And so after he had them talk with me, I'm like, I just do my best. And so in my mind, I said, you know what, my goal now is to make sure the guy ahead of me is as ready as he can be for the game. So I would come into practice like it was game time for me. And that guy, I wasn't focused on the game. I was focused on making that guy better. So he's like, oh, I don't feel like working hard. They're like, oh yeah, you're gonna work hard today, because I would whip his ass if he didn't. He's my man. Like I would work hard, and I made so when the game time was there and he was playing well, that's like my guy. If he needed a break, I'm getting him a break, and I would come in. So I wasn't thinking about because I already knew like okay, my future was kind of set. So I wasn't thinking about I got to play, I got to do all this stuff. I was thinking about like I got to get this guy good. So that's my job is to make it. And he was like an All American. Like he went from not, and because I was putting pressure, even the coach would say, "Man, I put so much pressure on him, and I would never let him take a break in practice because I'm like, this is my purpose. And if he needed a break, I'd come in there and play really hard. And when the coach take me out, I had a great attitude. Like, good job, man. Like, go out, go do that. And I was basically like his second coach. I was like the other people, I didn't care. This was my guy, right? And so I was coaching him from the bench and telling him, you're gonna get a second chance. Like we missed free throws. I'm like, you're gonna get another chance. And he said, yeah, I believed you, man. I knew I was gonna get that chance. So even though we fight each other in practice, I make sure that he fought. But in the game, that was my guy. And as long as he played well, like I was, of course, I wanted the whole team to win. But one of my main missions was that he played well, and in making him better, I became better. And became him better. I didn't take a break. If I was moping and being sad, and so I think like look at what you have, what situation you are, pick out the right things, pick out the good thing, the positive, and say, you know what, I can work on this thing. I'm just going to focus on that, and I can improve in that. I can work a skill in that thing and then don't worry about the other thing. And then like before you ask another question, like real quick, I remember even like a couple of years ago, I would go to the gym and play with regular people, and then something happened in my elbow, like it was started hurting, like when I like something happened, like oh my god, it started hurting. I couldn't shoot, like it was just I'd be in some pain, it swelled up. So I went to the doctor, they did an X-ray, and they said like I broke a little, like it was a chip or something that was broken. I can have surgery, but it doesn't make sure it's going to be fixed. And I was like, do I really want to go through all this stuff? I'm not really a basketball player, I'm just playing for fun. But I couldn't shoot anymore. So I was kind of depressed, like, oh my God, I'm getting old. I can't play basketball anymore. I can't shoot. I can't shoot three pointers. I can only make layups, like if I'm really close. And it was really like depressing. But then I was like laying in bed and I woke up and like, basketball has so many aspects of it. It's not just shooting. It's defense, there's closing out. There's all kind of things you can do in basketball. There's passing, rebounding. I didn't have pain. So I said, you know what? I won't shoot. So I went to the gym. All the guys said, guys, I'm not going to shoot. I'm just going to rebound and play defense. And everybody, they didn't believe me. But then they believed it. Everybody loved playing with me because I'd get the rebound.
Oh,
Yeah, because I was giving them the ball and I play defense and I work on that part, on closing out, on denial, and I just focus on that because I was playing to get in shape and to be in shape. I'm like, I don't need to shoot the ball to be in shape. I just need to be like Dennis Rodman and run around and grab rebounds. And I had a ball. And the last time I shot the ball, it didn't hurt. So I think after like a year or two, it must have healed by itself. So my point is, you can always find little aspects and be successful at that. You don't have to be successful at everything.
and so how do you channel that resilience that you learned about A, when you were in your college team and, pretty much spending your time on the bench, and then B, what you just shared about your injury? How do you channel that into your business now?
Because in business, it's the same way. Things don't work. You lose clients, you lose deals. The program you create a whole program, it didn't work out. So we take a lot of losses in business, and you just have to go back to the board and look at how it is. And when people are quitting easily on their dream because it's not working, I'm like, is it your dream? Like you have to have this resilience, and you can't wait for a coach to give you the motivation. You have to make sure the coach knows that you're not going to quit, whether the coach believes in you or not. Sometimes I'm pushing my clients to tell them like, no, you can do it. You can motivate. Like I shouldn't be motivating you that hard. You should be motivating me to coach you. You should be inspiring me that this guy's not going to quit. This guy's going to make it. I want to be part of this team because he's not going to quit. First, to have me think, man, this guy's about to quit. He's going to stop everything. So you just have to have that thing. Like this is what I want. And there's a quote that I always go to. It says, "You don't have the life you want because you keep feeding the life you don't want." And that's like a very good quote because whether basketball or life or entrepreneurship, if you keep on thinking about the life you don't want and you keep making plans about what you don't want, like anytime you're planning on quitting, like it's okay, I gotta save for this reason, or I gotta you're thinking of your exit plan, you're investing your time and energy into the life you don't want. You have to know what life you want. So if I want to be a basketball player and that's the life I want, I don't need to spend any energy in anything else. Doctors say you're not going to play anymore. Like, yes, I am going to. Like, I'm going to invest my time and energy into this. And same thing in entrepreneurship. I'm going to get the life that I want, even if it takes me 99 years. I'm going to go and for it. And once you have that conviction, nothing can stop you. You're like, only if you die or if you quit and you just keep going.
So, what would you say to a young teenage athlete that is aspiring to getting that college scholarship? What are the tips that you could give them?
I would say tap into your passion. Like be just passionate about this. It's like this is who I am. Like I'd rather die than not get this. Now I'm not saying people to die, but you just have like there's nothing else that I want. I want this, and just be 100% dialed in that say, even if I fail, it's worth it, right? Some battles are worth it even if you fail, and other battles are not worth it even if you win. But you have to decide that this one is, and I'm going to go all the way so that I can sleep at night. My dream was to make the NBA, and I never did. But I never don't sleep well at night because I know I gave everything I had, and I had other teammates who I'm like who are better than me, more talented. I'm like, you can make the NBA, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, why don't you wake up early with me? Come, let's go to the gym. Like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. He's like, I know, like, if I did that, I probably could, but I don't want to do that. Like, they just want it to happen easily. And a young person, you want to get a basketball scholarship, get passionate about it, and go out and dominate and play your heart out because it's gonna feel good. That conviction that you have that this is who I am. I'm going to give, even if you never get the scholarship, you will feel good knowing that in high school, in this moment, this is who I was. I was 100% dedicated. I gave everything. You're going to get so much out of that. Even if it's not the scholarship, you're going to get a great high school career. You're going to get respect of others. You might win the championship. And most likely, you're going to get the scholarship. It might not be the school you wanted. It might be a junior college. It might be a Division 3 college. It might be Division 2. But this is who you are, and you're going to go for it. And if you have any skill, which you can gain the skill, you can play. Like basketball, you don't have to be the most talented guy. If you can run, you can make a layup, you can work on your skills, right? And even if you don't have skills, I play in college basketball. I played in Europe. There's some guys who don't have that much skills. Even in the NBA, guys like Charles Oakley. If you got old school guys, they don't have that much skills. They always play. They just have heart, they have grit, and they're in shape, they run, they play defense. Sam Perkins, he didn't have a lot of skills. There's a lot of these guys do not have skills, but they play the game that they love. And that's what you got to say. I love this game so much, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to keep playing.
So, what would you say, like when talent scouts were coming to watch you play? Did you choke or did you like how did you manage that? Because I speak to young athletes and they're going, oh my God, I hope I can, show what I'm really worth when it really, really counts. And that's why I have the Inner Game of Winning online program, which is at the bottom here, because sometimes people have all the talent in the world in training and then they choke when it really matters. So how were you in that situation? Can you remember what it was like when you knew talent scouts were going to be watching you?
Well, you know what was amazing is the only person that ever like I feel like I didn't play well when he came to watch me, maybe because I wasn't pleased, was my older brother. I have an older brother, and he'd hear about how good I was, and he'd show up to the game, and I wouldn't do well. Like even one time, he dropped me off at the gym, and I was playing, and he said while he's coming in the gym, these guys were talking about, man, there's this guy in there that's killing it. He's really good making threes. Like people were talking about me. He heard them talking about me. So he said, "Oh, okay." He came to pick me up. I'm about to go. No, no, no. Go ahead, keep playing. I want to watch. And I was just like, I don't know, the pressure. I didn't do well. That happened so many times. He hears other people saying how good I am, and then he's like, "Well, I didn't see that." Like one time in college, I scored like 50 points in something like in a. It was like 56 points and like a game and a half or something like that. And then he heard about it. He's like, man, I gotta come. I gotta see this. And it's like I just wasn't playing good. But as far as scouts and other people, my game was not based purely on skills. My game was based on hustle and working hard and running and stuff like that. So I knew that I could count on. I knew my defense I could count on. It's really like something that I had confidence that I was going to be the hardest worker on the court. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have the pressure because it wasn't based on skills really. It was just based on grit, working hard, and then I would be open and I would shoot. And I remember in Europe one time, I was trying out for a team. It was like after, and then the guy had talked me. I thought the team already knew me. I was possibly going to go to another team, and so I was just relaxing, passing the ball. I wasn't really like I was trying to get my friend. I had a friend that was trying out for the team. I was trying to get, but halftime and half it was like this game. And then halfway through, kind of like a summer league, and they going to the agent was like, "Damn, you need to start playing. These guys are watching you." I'm like, "They already know me." Like, "No, you need to play and show what you got." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so I started shooting the ball. It's like, "There you go." But I really just wasn't thinking about the scouts. I was just trying to help other people But then I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let me play the game, and then I started shooting and making and dribbling and doing my thing. And then he was like, there you go. Now, now this is the. I'm like, I didn't think I was being scouted. I thought I was just here to help everybody else out. So you got to always come ready to play because they're
That
always watching.
story about your brother coming to watch you and you not necessarily showing him, what you could do reminds me of I was living back in Australia, and Brad Dalton, who's a former dual Olympian basketball coach, had me work with his under 22 women's league, and they won the state championship for the first time. They were coming fifth halfway through the season, and I did 2 sessions with them. He used to ring me and put me on speakerphone, and I'd do all my rituals and things with them. And they ended up winning the whole state championship. The following year, I think it was, his varsity boys team had lost their stars. They'd won the nationals the year before, and they had a team. He said, look, I've got a really good team. They don't have the depth that I had last year, but they have good skills. I mean, he's a former Olympian, so he knows how to teach the skills, right? So I worked with the boys, and they were getting thrashed halfway through the season. And then ultimately, we won the whole conference final by 30 points from playing a team that had thrashed them twice during the season, right? So they win the conference final. They also win a trophy for the highest point score, I think, in the whole conference. And we've done that. And then there's some sort of an invitational. And it's not part of the conference, it's just an invitational with this other team. And there was a gorgeous young man. I can't remember his name. I can see his face, but I do know his dad was Jerome, and Jerome was an African American guy who had come to Australia, former professional, and he actually taught Samara in Potters League, right when Samara, my daughter, first started playing. Anyway, Jerome's son was probably the most talented person in the team. He wasn't that tall, but he had great skill, right? Jerome turned up to this invitational, and his son played so bad, so bad, to the extent where after the game, I said to Jerome, I'm not sure it's a good idea that you show up, for these games. And his response was interesting. He said, no, Kathryn, he's got to get used to me having my eyes on him. I'm not going to back away. And I went, well, thank God you didn't come to any of the other games through the
Right.
I don't know whether we would have won that conference final because this poor kid just fell apart knowing that his dad was there. And I think these days there is so much pressure, especially with fathers for some reason. I think it happens with mums as well, but fathers maybe I had this happen occasionally in my performing arts school, but they were never the right fit, thankfully, and those parents left. But parents that are living vicariously through their children because they never made it, and they want to put everything into their offspring,
Right.
kind of thing. So what advice would you give to those sorts of parents that are kind of not really handing it over to the coach to do their job,
Right.
staying in their lane basically as a
So
parent?
got it. So that's a tricky question because I never had parents that were like coming. My dad watched my last high school game and my last college game. That's it. My dad didn't come to any games. He didn't, and he was like, like, oh, okay, like he didn't really care. My dad's a pastor, and for him, sports was like a waste of time. Or like, why, like we should grow out of it. Like sports is good when you're young, but then you're getting old, like you should do something else. The whole world of sports, he always thought the athletes didn't even know how to sign. He's like, all they know how to do is sign their name. These guys don't even know how to read or write that well, because he thought they just give them grades. These guys are not that smart. So he was like under that thing. And my dad used to always say, God doesn't make any mistakes. If he wanted you to be a basketball player, he wouldn't have had you born in this family. We're a pastor's family. So I
Goodness.
had to go, I had to be in. But my brother also played sports and soccer. And he would always say that. He's like, God doesn't make mistakes. Like, you guys, this is a phase you're going through. And my brother actually played Division I soccer, and he actually did a little bit pro too in soccer. But we were like, me and my brother, the one that like we were like very into sports. So I never had parents that were that on me. But I always felt like this is my space. I never felt like I needed my parents, right? I felt like this is my space to be me. I didn't really want my dad there because I probably would have been like being respectful and everything. But this was me to be wild and be me, get rebounds, talk trash. I don't know if I would have been talking trash to kids or being, however I was being, I don't know, fighting. I didn't fight or anything. Actually, I never got a technical foul in all of my whole playing days. I never got a technical foul for like talking bad. One time in a scrimmage or in like a thing game, I was hanging on the rim. I went for a dunk and I hung on the rim and they got me technical. But I never got a technical for talking bad or giving bad attitude or anything like that. And even though I did talk to refs, so I don't know how it would have been there. As a coach myself, I did not like co-parents that were always coming to practice,
Yeah.
like always there, trying to say hey, my son wants to play because he's defending his son. I'm trying to get the team to play and win, but he's trying to get his son to play and win with the team. And it's like your son should be able to defend himself in practice and earn his spot, not you supporting him and you being there. And then sometimes you end up playing the kid just because and giving him extra playing time just so you don't hear too much from the like it does influence you, like I'm not gonna influence me. But it does influence you a little bit because if it's not a big risk, you'd be like, okay, I mean, playing more. It does impact you in some cases, especially the parents is close to the administration and keep talking and is doing stuff. It's like so. I would say, you know what? When I'm a parent and my kid is playing, I'm not gonna be like that. I'm gonna stay way up in the bleachers, or I'm not even. I don't even want him to see me. But when I saw how much some other parents were out there supporting their kids, I'm not feel like, huh. I wonder what it'd be like if my parents really supported. Maybe it would have helped me out. Maybe it wouldn't have. I don't know. So that question is kind of like I
Mm.
don't know how much, but I just know as a coach, it's really annoying when the parents are super like aggressive and then you're trying to teach them their own thing and like you know for me, do whatever you want to do with him as a kid and when at home. But when he comes to practice, this is my area. This is my time, and in the game too is my time. Your son is not the priority. Winning the game is a priority. And if he's sitting on the bench is what's going to help him get better for the next game, let me bench him. Like I need to be able to make the decision. You're not the coach. I'm the coach. And so I just didn't like that. And I don't want other coaches to feel uncomfortable in playing my kid because of pressure. Um, but I guess it works sometimes for the kid.
But what about the parents that come to the game and they're shouting out all the instructions to the kid, and it's like honestly, and I'm guilty of this. I've got to be really vulnerable here and admit that I would my daughter's playing and I'd say hands up or guard your player or whatever it was. And what I realized since, I mean, she's all grown up now, but what I realized is it's a distraction because they don't know whether to listen to you, the parent, or whether they should be listening to the coach. And so, are they actually able to be really present on the court? I think we
Well,
do
that's the coach's
we
fault.
do
I mean, I think,
a disservice.
yeah, I as a coach, anytime if that ever happened to me, that kid would never play. Like, no, like the coach needs to let him know, like, look, everybody who's there is a fan. We're playing. They're not coaches. They're fans. And even fans will say, "Hands up, defense!" Fans are allowed to yell stuff out. And I remember one time in college, the girls were playing. The women's team was playing before us, and I was up in the stand. And I was yelling stuff at, hey, put her in the games. I was supporting, and the coach got mad at me. The coach was looking at me like, why are you talking? I'm like, I'm a fan. What are you talking about? I'm supporting the game. I'm like saying, oh, good job. Put Kathryn back in the game. Good job, Kathryn. And then it was like, he was like mad at me. I'm like, I'm a fan. Like, you can't let what people are saying bother you. I'm not going to let the fans bother me. This is their job. People are booing. Some people are encouraging. You got to shut all that stuff out. And I tell the players, your families are fans coming to support. They can say whatever they want. That's great. They can say go for the rebound, do that. But you got to stick to what we've practiced and what I tell you. I'm the coach, not the parent. But I guess that if you have so much respect for your parents, and I mean, I never had that because my parents really didn't know basketball as well as I do. So my parents would never.
You didn't have that challenge.
Yeah, I didn't have that because my parents weren't even there to support. But I wouldn't have listened to another parent that's talking like you weren't in practice. Like I don't see how a parent can tell you what to do. He wasn't in practice. He can't.
Yes.
You don't know what I practice.
No,
Like how would you?
play them and to be, yeah.
Yeah, like he. So I would pick a coach. A guy that's listening to his parents is like, no, that's he wouldn't play if I was the coach. All right.
So, if you could go back and talk to your younger self, young Dan, as a rookie player, what would you say to him about mindset and what really matters?
I would say kind of like what I had said, like fall in love with the game. All my first year, like when I went to France as well and I played, that first year was really challenging. until I just said, just keep playing for fun, like love the game again. And then
Mm.
once I loved the game again, I got my game back, and then I was just like more energetic, and I was back because I was playing for love, and it was just fun again. And so that's what I would give myself. One thing I do want to leave with anybody listening in the audience that could be for business and also for basketball. Like just measure yourself. There's three things you want to be the best at. Like you want to measure yourself at. Okay, and say, and this is you can do it. I want to be the hardest worker. If you are the hardest worker, he's going to make an impact. You're going to play, even if you don't have the skills, if you're the hardest worker. How are you the hardest worker? Dive for loose balls, play defense. You can't be the hardest worker if you're not in shape. So you got to, in the summertime, go run, get in shape, run, keep running, get in shape. You got to get in shape because if you're not in shape, you can't work hard because basketball is unfortunately just about the heart. It's not football. It's heart. It's in shape. You got to run because that's how you can play defense. You got to run. You got to run. So you got to get in shape so you can work the hardest. So that's your first goal. I want to work harder than everybody else there, and I want it to be clear and that everybody can see I'm the hardest worker on the court. That means showing up early, leaving late. So the second thing is to work longer than everybody. So I got to be the first in practice. At least if I'm not the first, I'm gonna be the last to leave. Don't let anybody leave after you. Be the last to leave, no matter what happens. And if your parents are picking you up or whatever, tell them I want that you want to do this. You want to be work the longest. If they can pick you up later, or if you can put you up, whatever. Try to get people in your life involved in these three things. It's like I want to work the hardest and work the longest. And if you do that, you're obviously going to get better than everybody because you're just getting more reps in, you're getting more practice in, you're more hungry. While everybody else is tired, they're doing drills. Everyone's like, behind the line, you jumping to the front of the line, you're doing the drills twice. The coach likes that enthusiasm. Like, yeah, good job. People used to call, man, this guy's a monster. He never gets tired. Like, you got the heart of a dog. It's like, because I'm like running, but it gives me more reps in and it gives me more practice. So what they got in 2 hours of practice, I got more out of my 2 hours,
Mm.
and then I work longer than they did again. So he's like, this guy, what does this guy eat? So once people start giving you that reputation of working longer and harder, and then the third one is to work smarter. So working smarter is you just learning different things, being efficient, don't waste time dribbling. It's not even about being more talented. It's just being smarter, shot selection, kind of being a coach of the game, kind of reading that stuff like that. If you can do these three things, or two out of three, you're gonna be good. If you can be the top, be your hardest worker and hardest thing in your life in your on your team, and the smartest, you got it. And same thing in business too. I'm gonna say, you know what, I want to. That's hard to compare because in business you're not seeing the other people how hard they work or how long they work. You
Mm.
know, you just got it. So you're kind of like just guessing, and then you can compare to yourself of what it is, of what is. Hey, everyone's just working like 8 hours or 10 hours. Let me work a little bit harder. Working hard in business means staying focused, right? There's something called noise to signal. Okay, and what that is like the signal is what you have to do in the next 18 hours. That thing is like you're in the jungle. There's like a signal, tee, 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 tee. You're like, but there's a lot of noise too. So you got to like, okay, what's the noise and what's the signal? The noise is everything that's distracting you. You know, baby mama phone calling, drama, TV playing, anything that's stopping you from getting your job done is the noise in your life. And then we all have noise. And some people's ratio, I heard that Steve Jobs was like 80-20 ratio of noise to signal. So he was like, thing. And somebody said that Elon Musk is 100% signal. No noise in his life. He's just sleeping. He wakes up 100% about that. So I try to increase that and to be playing hard or working hard is just having sure that I'm not being distracted by a whole bunch of things. And I work off of Facebook sometimes and I get distracted. I'm like, oh, it's noise. So that's the three things. If people can get that in their practice in their business, that's going to make a big difference for them.
And that's three really major tips in anything in life, I think. So what's next for you, Dan? Have you got any exciting projects or challenges that our listeners could look out for?
Well, I help coaches build communities, and that's one thing I'm building. But inside of my community, that I have my own community, there's like a lot of great things happening. I'm organizing a retreat in Colombia in October that anybody who's interested in having a fulfilled life is welcome to come. You don't have to be a coach. If we're going to teach about fulfillment, it's 1 week about fulfillment, the 6 pillars of fulfillment. Every day is going to have its own theme. We're going to work on it. We're going to go do excursion. It's going to be a really, really special thing that people are going to walk away from feeling fulfilled, knowing how to apply fulfillment. When you're not feeling fulfilled, you can look at the chart and look at what you have to do and just practice. Because fulfillment is really the feeling, the consciousness of what your experience is, like being conscious of your experience. Because a lot of people have the experience and not conscious of it. So we're going to teach all of that, so that, because I believe that if you have a fulfilled life, you can more easily reach your goal because you're not going to quit. If playing basketball is fulfilling to you, even if you lost the game, it's not going to matter. And so that's what exciting. Let me just give one last nugget, on that tip, is that when you're on this fulfillment thing, winning or losing means nothing at all to you, because you're gonna keep going regardless. If you lose $1 million, you're gonna keep working on your business. If you gain $1 million, you're gonna keep working. If you lose in the finals, the next day you're gonna go to the gym and practice. If you win, you're gonna go up and practice. Floyd Mayweather always practiced. He never lost, so I can't compare. But if he lost, he would have went back to the gym and practiced. So once you get to the point where fulfillment means more to you than winning or losing, right? Because that's the fuel that keeps you going, then you'll never lose because you'll keep going.
So where can people go to learn about they might want to join a 21-day challenge, or to learn more about your community building and or the retreat you're going to be doing?
They can go to my website, which is dannzinga.com. So just my name, but connected, DANNZINGA.com. And on there, they can see where to set up an appointment with me about building their own communities, or they can participate in a challenge. They can look at our retreats, give a donation to our foundation that we're doing. So there's everything. They can find everything on dannzinga.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's awesome to talk to you. Honestly, we could talk for hours, I know. I hope our listeners have enjoyed this and found some gold nuggets. If you found one gold nugget, I really invite you to comment below. What was it? What was it that Dan said or I said that actually really resonated deeply with you, and you've gone, yeah, I'm going to take action on that, because we would love to know how we're inspiring you. My whole purpose is inspiring you to really develop a champion's mindset, so that when things don't go the way you want, which, let's face it, life is like that, that you can actually bounce forward. I don't like the term bounce back, because when we bounce back, we're going back to who we were before we learnt the lessons. So if we bounce forward, my friend Sam Cawthorn back in Australia coined the phrase bounce forward. And I love it. So what is there that resonated with you about this particular podcast? Please comment below. And maybe, it's also accountability, like comment and go, this is what I'm going to work on. This is something that I had an aha about. And if you would like a copy of my free ebook, there is a big ebook that I've created called Mental Performance Mastery for Basketball Success. However, I want to preface, it's not just for basketball. There is a whole process of my inner game of winning in that book, of what you need to do to really master your inner game, whether that's an inner game as an athlete, a coach, an entrepreneur, a parent. You can actually, we're going to pop that up on the screen now, and you can go to this particular spot. If my producer is there, he can. Mental Performance Mastery for Basketball Success is not just about basketball success. It's about success in any sport you're playing, or even in life. In it, I share my champion's mindset, which is the inner game. It's the inner game of winning. And I do hope you enjoy it. Download a free copy and let me know what you think. So that's about it for this week. Thank you so much again, Dan. And I look forward to seeing everybody next week. Ciao for now.
Thanks for watching The Champion's Mindset with Kathryn Orford. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next week.